This is like take 2. My last take wasn't so great, so we're starting again. But yeah, this is today's video. Today's video is on solving linear equations. But this is part 1 of it, will be on one-step equations. So it's your more simpler ones. And so when a question asks you to solve it, or to solve an equation, what you are doing is you are finding the value of your variables. And so your variables is just the fancy math way of saying what these letters are. So A, X, Y, Z, all of those letters that we use in math, those are called variables, and they are the letters which you currently don't know the value of. They're unknown values, unknown variables. And so you're trying to find what those values are when you solve your equations. Now let's start on the first one. I'm going to do this. Now our first one for today is x minus 0.6 equals 1.1. Now when we're trying to solve for a variable, for x in this case, we need to isolate x so that it is on its own. And what I mean by that is that 0.6 there, or that negative 0.6, I will need to get rid of it. You need to get rid of everything on this side of the equation, everything on the same side as x. And to get rid of anything, you need to do the opposite. Now let's revisit what opposite might be. So plus, the opposite of plus would be minus. The opposite of minus or negative or whatever would be plus, and then multiply. The opposite of that would be divide, and the opposite of divide would be times. Now there are other operations that I would like to touch on soon, but we'll probably revisit that later on in the term. So these are my operations and the opposites. And so remember, when we're getting rid of anything, or whenever we shift a number or a variable across the equal sign, it will become the opposite. Now let's have a look at how that would change. I need to get rid of the negative 0.6. So I'm going to take this and I'm pretty much just going to throw it across. And remember, every time it crosses this little bit here, every time it crosses that equal sign barrier, it becomes the opposite. And so on this side, it's a negative 0.6. On this side, it becomes a plus 0.6. So we currently have 1.1. It was already there. But once it becomes transported, you now have 0.6, a positive 0.6. And what do you think we have left here? Nothing. Oh, well, not nothing, but we have the x left. So x is equal to 1.1 plus 0.6. And did we just solve? So you evaluate x equals 1.1 plus 0.6 is 0. Sorry, not 0. 1.7. I really want to go outside and slap those kids who are screaming like they have nothing better to do. I'm so sorry for the little aside. Hold up. Let me just pause. I really want to slap them. Sorry guys, I'll edit this part out. Anyway, that is your value for x. So in this case, the opposite was minus. Let's look at what other ones might look like if we had different operations. So our second question 2, is x plus 6.9 equals 10. Okay, let's draw a barrier, our equal sign barrier. And we need to solve for x, so we need to get rid of everything on the same side of x. And so I need to get rid of this plus 6.9. To get rid of that, I need to throw it across. This equal sign makes this the opposite. So I'm left with x on the side equals positive 6.9 thrown across becomes, sorry, the 10 still there, becomes negative 6.9. And now if you work this out, 10 minus 6.9, you should get 3.1. And that is my answer. Okay, let's see. I'm going to just fold this. We're nearly there. We're nearly there for the one-step equations. You'll see that most of these steps are just kind of one step And that's why we call them one-step equations. Oh, let's have a look at this one. This was a tricky one. Equals 14. Now, 5x equals 14. What is the relationship between 5 and x? The relationship between 5 and x, or I can rewrite this as 5 times x equals 14. Now, when we do the opposite of whatever relationship this number has with the x that we're trying to tear it apart from. So when we take this over, it doesn't become 14 minus 5. It actually becomes x. So x is left here. Let me just draw this barrier here just so we know, remind ourselves that it's there. When we take this over, we do the opposite of multiply, which in the previous question we decided was, or we confirmed was divide. So the opposite of times is divide by 5. Now, in your answers, you can try and simplify this. This should be 2.8, I think. You guys can confirm that. But just remember that MCAT, in your MCAT exam, you won't be allowed to use calculators. So you do have the option of keeping it in the fraction form, in your simplified fraction form. Otherwise, you could give it a go, dividing it out and making it a decimal. Yeah. Sweet. So your final question for your one step is question 4, x over 8 equals 0.25. Now we know that x over 8 equals 0.25. We know that on this side of the equation, I want to get rid of this 8. And so to get rid of it, sorry, let me just do this nicer. To get rid of it, I do the opposite. I want to get rid of this whole thing. Throw it over. X is now there, equals 0.25 stays the same. And what changes is this divide 8, which changes to times 8. X equals 2. And there you have it. Bob's your uncle. Those are your one-step equations. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. And yeah, if you had any questions, post them below. Otherwise, that is us. See me in my next video where we go over two-step equations. Now, these are very, very simple. There are other rules that you might want to try out, but we'll get to that when we get there. Anyway, okay, bye.